here. It's been a morning already. It's 10 o'clock. It already feels like 4 o'clock in the afternoon over here.
That happens.
It does. Well, especially in techie stuff, right? Like I do all the things and I like finally close my computer at the end of the day and I go, wow, we fixed that. Everything's running well. I have a client with a brand new website. We put the Facebook ads up. We made sure everything was working. And then this morning, it's like the site's not working and we got the ads running and I'm like, what the heck happened? And you're trying all the things. Customer service didn't open till 9. But thankfully, after 20 minutes waiting online, it was a simple fix. It was just somebody on their end had forgotten to flip a switch. So I guess like when there's a lesson there, I think the lesson is that a lot of people feel like, I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm doing it wrong, or I don't even know. But often it's something else. It's either something super simple that we've missed or just the right person, especially we're using Weebly right now. And I think that there are a ton of business sites, like Zoom must have blown up.
Yeah.
Weebly must have blown up because everyone's making new, quick, easy websites, e-commerce. So with that, actually, that's not what I'm going to talk about for my digital marketing tip this week. I'm so glad you're here, though. So what I want to talk about this week is I'm going to I'm finishing a series on subject lines. The past few times that I've done the interviews, I've given little bits and pieces. I did a webinar this week with Groundwork in New Bedford. If you guys are in the area, you should check that out. They're doing amazing things, even within the constraints of COVID. So I'm going to see if I can go ahead and share my screen. Give you guys a quick digital marketing of the tip before we get to the juicy stuff. So when we're talking about subject lines, I think last week I talked about things that might get you put into spam. I think we've also talked about some other tips like using humor. And so here's a few other tips I wanted to share, right? So even though I do believe that people should be straightforward in your subject lines, like you really want people to know what's in that subject line. We talked about the subject line being 4 to 7 words, and then you have to have your pre-header, and the first 2 words are the most important. People read left to right, use personalization. But sometimes there's an opportunity to kind of spice it up a little bit. So you could put the focus on a special promotion or featured content, but you don't always want to look like you're trying so hard. So think about the testing and you want to try something new, right? So here's one. Here's alliteration, where you get to repeat the same first letter for each word, right? Our eye tends to look for patterns that will help your email stand out in the inbox. So these, I don't know, I find a little bit of a hard time with these, but if you're just out and about and now you put your spidey sense on and you start thinking about things, just jot them down in whatever notebook you have or your keep on your phone or something like that. So here are a couple of quick samples that I saw. 6 seasonal savings secrets is fun. Top trends to try today. Right, it's not all that creative, but just the alliteration kind of makes it stand out a little bit. This one I do like. This one I find a lot easier because I'm a bullet reader more than I'm a text reader. And so if you're going to do chunking, if your subject lines are just coming out too long, chunking it can keep the words less, and it also makes it stand out a little bit because it's just not following the normal sentence structure. So here's an example that the new clothing items they've added and they've separated them out with periods. And another example is, I love this one. I love the plus and the equal sign. My eye is drawn to that. You can use the capitals without it being too weird and obvious that you're shouting. I love that one a lot. I love the plus and the equals. Allusion's a little bit tougher, right? So this one's an example for a candy store that goes back to that famous line in Forrest Gump. So that's kind of a good one. And the next one, like, I've heard this line, I know what you did, or something like that. I've never seen the movie, but I know it's a popular line, right? So that's referencing a movie from the 90s, but the subject line is actually referencing a sale that happened the day before. And the email was asking the customer to provide feedback on the experience. So I think it's something like illusion is you want to make sure that your audience is going to understand what it is. Like if it's a cult classic and people haven't seen it, it could just be like confusing and they would be like, what? So those are my fun subject line tips for the week. Next week, I'm going to talk about power words. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen there and get to my favorite part of the day when I get to invite my friend Beth Newberry to talk with us today. Thanks so much for being here, Beth.
Thank you so much for having me. This is exciting.
I know. I love it. It's my favorite. All right, here is Beth's official bio. She is a platinum ambassador with Pure Haven, and you're going to have to tell us what that means.
Sure.
Beth has been in the direct selling industry for 10 years, and she educates on living a non-toxic lifestyle. Her team is consistently the second highest in the company in balanced downline sales. She supports a team of over 1,600 people. That's amazing. A little over a year ago, when she went to an intention setting workshop, she found that the intention she felt driven to live out was, I am embracing joy. And so she's been surrounding herself with others who do the same, who intentionally focus on joy. And when I asked Beth what her superpower was, she said it's helping people embrace joy and simplifying to non-toxic alternatives in a non-toxic lifestyle. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
If anyone's on Facebook, let us know you're here. If you're here on the Zoom, let us know you're here. Let us know if you have any questions or any thumbs up for Beth for being here today. And her hair looking so good because she did the dry shampoo thing this morning.
I did. Pure Haven has an amazing dry shampoo.
How does it work? I mean, I don't even know what happens. Like my hair, forget it.
Yeah, usually with dry shampoo, many of them are spray-on, which is a big no-no in the non-toxic field because then you need a propellant. But it just sort of absorbs oils so that you can go a few more days between washings and lets it be a little bit. And I find I use it a lot more in the summer. I don't really need it very much in the winter, but in the summer it's nice to.
Because it like does something with the oils.
Yeah, it's just powder and it absorbs the oils and you brush it through your hair and it helps with that.
That looks great.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So tell me, like, first of all, what's Platinum Ambassador? That seems like a good deal. Like 1,600 people, Platinum. I think you've been with this company a while.
10 years. So Platinum Ambassador, there are various ranks in the compensation plan, and you keep sort of ranking up. And the reason that that's important, not only because it sounds very impressive to be a Platinum Ambassador, which I don't really care about so much about the title. I care more about making sure that I'm building my business and being successful. And it also allows you to, as you are teaching your team to do what you do, it allows you to tap into the highest level of the comp plan to get paid on your entire team. So I am one level away from getting paid on the highest level of the compensation plan, which is kind of nice.
You've been doing this a long time, so I guess it's just consistency, right?
Consistency, exactly.
So tell me about the intention setting workshop
Sure.
that you went to and how you came to like live this life, embracing, finding joy everywhere.
Yeah, so I guess one of the things when you read my bio, it probably sounds to people like, wow, she's really done this amazing job and she's built this successful career. And I think in our minds, we tend to think of this straight line up of success, right? You think, oh, you're building this straight line, but we all go through these places where we have dips and we are not happy with what we're doing and we're not feeling successful with what we're doing. And I would say about 4 years ago, we went through a little bit of a shakeup with the company, and it was very tumultuous. And at that point, I sort of had a crisis of faith and felt like, am I really doing what I'm meant to be doing? Do I really still love what I'm doing? Should I be looking for something else? And I kept in my gut feeling like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm not really loving it right now, but I know it's the right move, and I stayed with it. But about 1.5 years ago, before I went to the intention setting workshop, I actually went and did, have you ever done soul collage? I think we talked about that.
I haven't, but I know what it is. Yes.
Yeah. So I took out my soul collage piece that I did.
Love it.
This is the very first soul collage card I ever made. And it was right before I went to this intention setting workshop. And it felt so meaningful to me. Like I needed to bring that with me when I went to the intention setting workshop. And when you do intention setting, it's very much about stating what you want in the present as though it's already happening. So my intention was, I am embracing joy. And it has been, I felt moved to sort of create something that went alongside of my business that was about embracing joy. I didn't want to leave my business. I was, even though it had been tumultuous, I was still really loving what was going on with my business and wanted to grow it and wanted to feel reinvested and love it. But I also wanted to create this feeling of joy alongside that. So that is sort of where I went with that intention setting workshop. So a couple of things that have come out of that, if I was going to share with people, I know one of the questions on your page the other day when you posted the name of the talk we were doing today, is this is a hard time to do that, right? It's a hard time to embrace joy. So something that I started very early on in my Facebook group was a gratitude journal. And we do gratitude every single day. And one of the things that I absolutely love is reading other people's responses for what they were grateful for each day. And it could be as simple as, I sat on my deck and had a cup of coffee, or, you know, sometimes it's things that you wouldn't think people were grateful for, but they're finding the gratitude within a tough situation. And that's really, it brings me joy to see that as well. And to have that sense of community. So that is a big piece of it. I think is gratitude. And when you read studies on joy, you see that gratitude is part of that. I think focusing on surrounding yourself with people who lift you and challenge you is really important for finding joy. I love that in the direct sales industry, you get to choose who you work with. It's a really beautiful part of that industry. So that really ties in well with what I'm doing with my Joy is Everywhere group. I get to surround myself with people who are looking for joy and want to find joy in things. And then also in my business. So I would say for those who are watching, find those people who just make your heart sing and make you happy, but also will push you a little bit. I think that's really important. And then actually one of the things that Susan sort of helped me with, and it had been a thought way back when, but I really hadn't fleshed it out, was interviewing other people. And I love interviewing other people and finding what they find joy in. So that is really fun. And that is part of what I do on my Facebook group. I think my business ties in really well to this whole idea of finding joy and simplicity. So that's really nice, is that it was it just all came together really well. The other thing I would say is just, and this may sound funny from someone who is talking about, or who is on a social media page, and we're talking about social media, but limit your media that you're taking in, and think about where you're getting it from. I think it can be a slippery slope when you start reading through things and going down. You'll see something on someone's news feed and click on it, and you'll start reading it, and you aren't really paying attention to what the source is. And so just limiting your media and really thinking mindfully about where your media is coming from. And those are really some top tips that I have for embracing joy and sort of bringing joy into your business as well. I think, anybody can rethink sort of, if they're feeling in a place where they're feeling like they're not finding joy in what they do, maybe rethink how to do that and how to make it a more joyful experience for yourself. It's really helped me to love what I do again.
That was so good. And that was a lot of things. And I took some notes.
Okay.
Because I would love to break that down a little bit.
Sure.
Okay. So many things resonated with me. First of all, the gratitude thing. I have always lived in gratitude. Always. I was challenged by our friend, Carrie Yassi. I was with Beth Knaus and a few other people in a group at She Breathes in Walpole. And Carrie said the magic of a gratitude journal. I'm like, I live an attitude of gratitude. I don't need to do that. And she was like, I challenge you. I challenge you for 7 days in a row to just write 10 things. Because what's going to happen is you'll write. And then like the 8, 9, 10, you're like, so then I started writing things like, I love my Cheerios. Except now I don't because of the glyphosate.
Exactly.
Now I can't eat my Cheerios anymore. But at that time, it was all about the Cheerios. And I really miss my Cheerios. And I love brushing my teeth. And when I would take that time also, I love my husband because, thank you. What would happen, it was a magical thing, because then when he would walk in, I would remember that moment when I was reflecting on that gratitude, and my heart would jump. And so there was that physical reaction of joy.
Right.
Because I had looked at that gratitude and given it a name and written it down.
Right.
So magical. And I would say in business, so one of the things I do with in the Rise Together membership group is we talk about it. We have accountability partners, and we have these sheets with the three things you're going to get done today. But before you do the 3 things you're going to get done today, you want to talk about the 3 wins, right? What did you do right? Because we're so hard as business owners on ourselves. Oh, I didn't do anything. But you know what? I bet you did a lot.
Yeah.
And so if you can reflect for a moment on what you did right, that can propel what you're going to do for that day. So we do that in the group accountability section of that. What else I loved about what you said, this kind of all goes together, is choose who you want to work with and who you want to surround yourself with. I've made a conscious decision. I mean, I have my corporate clients, but I've made a conscious decision that I want to surround myself with heart-centered entrepreneurs. I want to surround myself with energy healers, light workers, creatives, coaches, so dedicated to bringing joy and beauty and health into the world. And, it's not, that was an interesting demographic from a career kind of a choice to work with. But I think that the people who you surround yourself with and bring joy to your life, I always use this thing, like they just help everybody's boats rise if you put yourself with negative people.
Right.
So, but that's a challenge. So as a manager, I don't manage a lot of people, but you do, right? You have to help a lot of people. Well, how do you manage that negative stuff?
Direct sales is very interesting because Yes, you have to. I don't manage anybody because we all own our own businesses.
Okay.
So I coach.
Please support. Okay.
I coach and support, right. I find that, so I'll take the first part of that and then focus on the second part. The first part is, as my leaders start to develop, I don't need to work with them anymore. They know what they're doing. They're off doing their own thing. They're, doing fantastic, and they have their own teams that they're coaching. So when I say I have 1,600 people, really, it's a lot less than that I'm working with on the day-to-day. And so, I've certainly had people reach out to me who know, oh, Beth is really good at understanding X, and they may be somewhere in my downline and I've never even heard their name before, but their leader will say, you know what, let me connect you with Beth because she's really good at this and she can explain it to you better. So there are times when that happens and I have those conversations with people that my leaders may be working with, and that I'm not. Sorry, my dog is very excited because Amazon just dropped something off.
We can barely hear it. We can barely hear
Okay,
it.
good.
But that's an interesting, so do people, I've had people in my life, right? Like good friends, lifelong friends, and they go into that negative space.
Yes.
And you want to say, have you tried, have you tried a gratitude journal? Have you tried a meditation? Have you tried, right? And then they shut me down sometimes, right? They're like, that doesn't work. You want to help.
So I think with the people that I am actively coaching with, sometimes when the negativity slips in, what I try to focus on with them is saying, yes, that's true, but what's also true is, and laying out some other things. So you're validating, okay, I understand you're in a negative place right now and this isn't going well, but look, you also have this going on, and let's focus on what's going well and how can we flip what's not working so well. So I think that's a really good way to work because we, obviously, as I said, I get to choose who I work with. So when I meet people and I find a great connection with them, I'm like, wow, I'd really love to work with this person. And I can talk to them about it and maybe they'll join me. But we also get people who join who we didn't necessarily pick. So it's just like any other work environment where sometimes, and you have to work with everybody. But I find that it's really nice that I do get to choose some of those people to some extent.
Yes. Yeah. And to make a difference. I mean, you're offering an entrepreneurship opportunity.
Exactly.
Right? Especially for people who, I mean, now that I've been an entrepreneur, sometimes like we have that, you were talking at the beginning about the success path. Yes. And I often think of that. We've probably all seen that meme. It's either like a roller coaster or like that squiggly line, like what success looks like from the outside. Oh, what success looks like from the outside. I just tripped over my board. What success looks like from the outside is this, and what success looks like from the inside is like
exactly.
And knowing that, you know what, there's challenges, but we can work it out, and especially if we have the support of others around us. And I'm going to put my power back on.
It's funny that happened right as you were talking about the craziness.
No kidding.
Success looks like on the inside.
I know. So now I don't know if I can get my thing up here.
Oh.
Nope. We're unplugged. That's okay. I'll do it over here. What I want to do is find I have to find the Facebook thing to see if we have anything in the chat for you to answer. Okay. Hey, you guys, while I'm looking for Facebook, go ahead in and all right. Yeah, it's not going to happen here. Okay. It might happen over here now if I unplug this thing. So this is happening. It's a tech day. Had that issue this morning with the website, and now we're here. Okay.
Mercury is in retrograde. Thought I turned my phone off, speaking of Mercury being in retrograde in Texas.
Oh, is it again? Is it always? Because it seems to me like it's always in retrograde.
It is again. It is again.
Goodness. I'm going to have to look that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Beth, this was so good. So it seems to me that you have really two things, but one is like an umbrella, and then you have, right? So you have the Facebook group where you're fostering living in your joy and living in gratitude. And now you've got this fun
Correct.
thing doing the interviews, which is
Yes.
so fun to be able to merge these energies together. And
Mhm.
what's the name of the Facebook group, and is it open? Can anybody can join?
Anybody can join. It's called Joy is Everywhere. And that is also the name of my website. And that's where the interviews are housed, and I have my blog and all of that fun stuff. So um, joyiseverywhere.com and Joy is Everywhere on Facebook. And Joy is Everywhere on Facebook is where we do that gratitude journal every single day. So it's a fun place. I started it sort of as a business group rather than a page. And I find we spend a lot of time just talking about things that are joyful in there. And some of the members will post things that bring them joy, and that's a lot of fun as well. So gratitude and joy, and just I think a space away from the everything that's going on out there right now is important to sort of shelter that time when you're not focusing on the bad stuff that's going on and the scary
There is a
stuff.
lot of stuff. I know when you mentioned that earlier about we're on social, which is ironic, right? And then so often the social kind of sucks the joy right out of you. When I
Mhm.
opened up my feed just to come to this live thing today to post about it, I thought, I wish and there is, but I haven't activated it again, to just block out, like really maybe that's an exercise maybe folks can do, is to go in and unfollow what makes you feel
Mhm.
icky every time you follow it.
Right. And I also love that when you have those people in your life who are part of your life, but they drain you.
Yes.
I love that, snooze for 30 days option, so that you can just go, you know what? I love you, but I just need a break right now because you're in a place where it's not healthy for me to keep seeing the negativity.
Right. But without
So
saying that to them, right? Because you don't want to offend, right?
exactly,
It's just like,
exactly.
shh.
It's a boundary setting thing for yourself, and they don't need to know. It doesn't need to hurt their feelings. You can just go, I just need a little rest.
Yeah, absolutely. And from a business perspective, what I work on with my clients, as you know, is that we kind of set timers, right? So we'll
Mhm.
say, all right, what's your goal? What do you want to do? I mean, you can go on for social whenever you want, but if you're going
Sure.
in for business, you
Yes.
really want to be very mindful not to get sucked into that vortex
Right.
that's going to just, like, you don't even know where you're going to come out, but you want to go
Mhm.
in with intention. I know that we've made a list of groups where you want to
Yes.
interact. And so if you
Yep.
just go to those groups with an intention, you set a timer, you be super strategic, you have a
Mhm.
goal, you know what your goal is. I think that's a lot easier too. And then okay, it's time to shut it off. Like, don't open it
Right.
up again until your next
Right.
scheduled time, or unless you're just sitting in front of the TV and you want to scroll. So that's another way that I try to protect
Yeah.
my energy, is to only go on certain times when I know that's what I'm going to do. And if I'm going on for business, just go on for business. I used to have this thing called kill newsfeed. I should have said that all together because that sounded scary at first. Just I shouldn't have paused.
I know what you did last summer.
Right? Kill newsfeed was really interesting because I couldn't see that middle section where all the newsfeed was. I could
Mm,
see my notifications, and I could see the sidebar where I have my pages and my groups. And so it
interesting.
really helped me to be super strategic. It messed something up and I had to take that off. I don't remember what it was, but for anyone who's like really trying to, let's say, spend the summer very, very strategically, try that kill
Mhm.
newsfeed. I think there's another one that works too, or
I'm
try a
also,
timer and a list.
for those of you who do use social media to interact sort of on a one-to-one level with people, what I've been telling my team to do is download your list of friends, and you can do that in your settings, and go through and sort of see, okay, who have I not interacted with for a while, and be very strategic about setting half-an-hour timer and going to those people and sort of checking off, okay, did I go and check out their page, see how they're doing, what their kids are doing for the summer, comment, like their things. So that way you're staying in each other's sphere.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Because of the way Facebook analytics works. But you're also not sort of just scrolling aimlessly and seeing the same people all the time. So
That's a really good point. That's super good. Awesome, awesome. Beth, thank you so much for spreading some joy in the Rise Above Noise group today.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So for anybody who doesn't know, I've mentioned the Rise Together group. So this is our Rise Above Noise group, and the Rise Together group is going to start the week after 4th of July, and that's a private group where we have weekly sessions of answering questions for each other, and I'm there for digital marketing help. We have accountability buddies. We have free courses and classes in there, a book club. And right now through July, the founders launch is only $49 a month, and you're like in for the rest of ever. Like that's the founders launch, and you would be a founding member at $49 per month. So yay, we're going to get started.
I'm so excited.
I know,
I'm really
so
looking
excited.
forward to
I've got a nice group of people getting started.
Good.
So we'll be, hit me up, you guys, if you're interested in that, or go over to my website to the membership part of that. And I am really excited about the deeper dive, getting your questions answered like that, and having this community of rising boats together.
I love it.
Thank you for bringing joy to my life today, Beth. I'll talk with you soon.
Thank you for having me. Okay, bye-bye.